And we are live.
We are live. Welcome everyone to another episode of Silver Lining TV, where we motivate and inspire people to create a better life through real estate. I am joined here by my business partners, Anthwon Thomas, Lauren Whitaker, and the Scott Fultz. These faces might look familiar to you as they are definitely in the community, and I know you see a lot of updates about them on Facebook. I guess not last week. Last week was Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving last week. But the week before that, we talked about the recent rate change and how it dropped from around 7.2, I want to say, to around 6.6. So now we're going to expand on that. And what does that mean? What are we seeing in the market? How are we talking to our buyers? And I want to pass this off to somebody who's been killing it in the market. I feel like every other day this person gets a buyer under contract. So, Lauren, since you are doing a lot of business right now, I want to take it. I want to get your perspective on things. How have you been handling this recent rate drop?
Well, I mean, it's great for a lot of my buyers. So it helps them out quite a bit, monthly payment wise, and maybe if rates drop again, they are able to refinance. So it has meant a lot to them to where their monthly payment is now probably a little bit more comfortable. They were okay with it before, but now it's like, okay, now I'm certain about this. But I mean, if you're gonna buy a house, you're gonna buy a house. So
Very true. Very true. It's just a matter of working within those confines that you do have as far as your rate will allow. And Scott, you have also gotten quite a bit of people on the contract recently. So, how are you approaching it? And I know you've worked with quite a bit of sellers as well. How are you seeing it on their side as far as the sell side as well as the buy side?
I mean, like Lauren said, it is a situation where people that are highly motivated and have the ability, they're going to do it. You know, a change in $40 or $50 a month is it might not be a deal breaker for everybody. We've seen people that it has affected, certainly, temporarily. But for me, I just look at it as I need to lead by example. I need to lead confidently. Tell people what's up, and I just haven't really seen much of a change. I know some agents come to me and from outside our building, and oh my gosh, it's what are you seeing and all that, and they're kind of freaking out, and I'm sure they're kind of portraying that to their buyers and everything, and I just don't want to be like that. So I just approach it very logically and confidently, and it is what it is. If you want a house now, still beats renting. So yeah, I agree with Lauren.
I think the biggest thing you said there, it's not that big of a deal in regards to the rate going up to where it was and now it dropping. Like
Yeah.
people look at 5%, 4%, and then the increase to 7%, and they make it much bigger than what it is. So I think you said it right there. It's like, yeah, we're coming from a logical perspective. We look at the difference in the numbers, and yeah, is it different? Maybe are you going to pay $100 more than you would have maybe a year ago? Sure, but the reality is we we pay too much attention to just the rate, and we don't really look at the other variables.
Exactly. I was going to say that the drop from the 7.2 to 6.6 on a $200,000 house, that came out to about $83 a month, I believe. If someone were to tell me at this rate, I'm going to wait a year, I'm going to rent another year, I'm going to easily do that math and say, how many thousands are you paying $1,000 a month for rent? There's $12,000. Are you telling me you're going to pay $12,000 extra? Like you're not going to see a nickel of it back in a year from now to save 83 times 12 is $900. That doesn't make any sense. So I think once we're able to confidently and wisely have that conversation, like it's just still a no-brainer.
It doesn't make sense until you say that to them, and then they're like, "Oh, it makes sense." Okay.
Yeah.
Now I just didn't have that information. Thank you, Scott. And
Yeah, all I've seen is on the news. It's terrible, and what a whole
right.
Let's just stop
Yeah.
and think about this for 10 seconds.
Yeah. So in other words, it sounds like, Scott, what you've been doing is we've been going from macro conversations to having more micro conversations. Like we're looking at things from the 10,000 mile view, right? The aerial view. And it's like, okay, let's come down and let's really talk about how it affects you and your current situation. And here's the contrast. And a lot of people are actually more from what I've seen from you guys, a lot of the clients that we've been serving recently have actually been in greater positions today in securing great homes and being able to purchase at great prices versus all the buyers that took advantage of the 2, 3, 4% rates.
Well, and kind of like we say, at that 2 and 3 percentage, yeah, they got a great interest rate, but did they have to go $20,000, $30,000 over asking price? You can't take that off the loan, but you can refinance that rate down eventually and make up for that money that you have spent. So which one would you rather do? Would you rather spend $20,000, $30,000 that you can't get back, or 7%? And then when the rates drop, your lender should message you and ask you if you want to refinance down, and then you're saving money again.
Your agent should too, by the way, not just it's not just your lender, it should be your agent. It's your agent's responsibility to be a resource and keep you updated on what's happening, which is what we're doing today.
Exactly. And I was going to touch on that. We definitely need to be that calming force behind our buyers because, like Laura said, if you're going to buy a house, you're going to buy a house. But depending on how you feel about it, that's going to say, hey, I'm going to do it either now, a month from now, or when should I get started in that process? Because people who are determined to buy a house, like she said, they are going to buy a house, but they're definitely going to be more analytical about it, which is when you hear all the talks of interest rate and going up or down. Like Scott said, breaking it down, and what Anthwon said, making it a micro conversation. It's like, hey, what are those small steps that we're going to take to get you to the point of home ownership? And that first step being, let's talk about what these rates actually mean and what you actually need in a house. On another note too, those who are looking to possibly buy their first home, because interest rates have fluctuated so much and they're higher than they were a couple of years ago, sometimes they might think, I can't afford a house anymore. Well, let's talk about what you actually want in a home and what's actually going to work for you in a home. A lot of people's first home is not their forever home. Okay. I mean, I think it's people will have like 1 or 2 homes before they decide, you know what, this is the home that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in. So you've ever heard the term starter home? That's a thing. So we're getting back to that, the starter home. Now, a couple of years ago, when interest rates were super, super low, people were getting more bang for their buck. People were getting more than what they actually needed. They were like jumping straight into this is the home that's going to fix everything. I'm going to have everything in it and this whole 9 yards. Whereas let's talk about your necessities, because when you got that apartment, the one that you're paying maybe $1,200 a month for, you're looking off of basically your necessities, right? So why not translate that into something that's actually going to build equity for you? It's going to be a part of ownership for you. And down the line, when you decide that you want to sell, you'll get money back from it. Let's take that same conversation and move it to something that's going to be an asset for you versus just renting. Does that make sense?
100%.
Perfect. Yeah.
It is, you brought up a point, and I honestly haven't really thought of it that way. Like the difference between a rental mindset and a buying mindset is, I think when we do rent, because prices are generally higher for what you get, we do settle for something different than in a home. And so why is it like, is it the American way? Like, listen, my neighbor's got this or my friend's got this, so I need more than that. And I think buyers are used to, getting more than what they want. But yeah, if we can even instill that in them, hey, this is not your forever home, or it doesn't need to be. Most wise real estate decisions, people that end up in greater homes they take these steps gradually. It's not a all at once kind of thing. So I think that was a kind of a cool concept I hadn't even honestly thought about.
And that's what we're here for. I'm glad that you caught that. And that's something that I just now thought about the rent mindset. So I'm glad you brought that more into perspective, because that is definitely a thing. So, I mean, and as the market continues and we begin to shift a little bit more, I know we're going to see a lot more changes, and not just in interest rates, but how buyers approach things. How many people actually want to sell. people who are selling out of necessity and people who are buying out of necessity, you can still make those connections happen. So the market really depends on the types of agents that are working it and who's talking to who. It is supply and demand, but it's also, gathering the information to figure out who needs the supply and what's in demand, right?
Yeah. And one interesting thing is it is projected, the market is projected overall to have home values increase over the next 12 months still, right? So that's good news. I mean, I know people are waiting for doom and gloom, which is interesting, right? But the fact that home prices will continue to go up, and in our particular market, there's a great chance that they go up at a fairly good rate, maybe even still above normal, is a great news for any buyer who's considering buying in the next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, just because you're still right now, and we could all talk about this because I think this is key based on the time that we're in right now. We're past Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up, right? And you have a lot of people who are distracted. And with home prices continuing to go up and it's cold outside and people are rather be shopping versus looking for a home, we should probably really relay the message to buyers who are wanting to wait 6 months to reconsider and buy now. So let's break that down a little bit for everyone. Like why is that important? What are the pros? What are the cons? But let's break that down for everyone. As to why.
Well, I mean, if anyone has ever bought stock, like if I said, listen, I have this stock and right now it's worth $1, but 6 months from now it's going to be worth $2. When would you rather buy it? I mean, it's just pretty simple. And I always tell my people, I want to react to what I know now. I don't ever want to speculate. Well, rates could do this or that, unless, I mean, it's very clear, unless the writing is really on the wall. Exactly a year ago, the writing was on the wall. And so I was able to tell people, listen, rates are expected to go up. And I remember vividly at first-time home buyers that were told by their father that they needed to save 20%, to get rid of that PMI. And I said, listen, if rates go up like they're expected to go up, you will be paying more because of the interest than you will on that PMI. And unfortunately, they were out of the market at that point because they waited. So yeah, I mean, whether you know what the rates might or might not do, the values have consistently gone up. So I just can't see, especially in our area, we are in a very unique market. I just don't see prices going down. So what benefit is there to waiting with prices? So
yeah. Will we see homes? So I'm going to make this very clear because let's get very micro. Will there be a home that's on the market today sell for $5,000 less than the home that sold a month ago? Could that happen? Sure, 100%. But if we step back and we look at the overall like prices going up or down, what's going to happen? They will continue to go up. Mm-hmm. There will be those homes that sell for a little less than the other one did. That's comparable. But what that means for you, buyer and seller, is you're in an opportunity right now where people are distracted, rates are favorable, okay? And you have less competition. Whether you're a seller or buyer, you have less competition. Take advantage, right? Take advantage versus waiting 6 months. You could be in a situation where for that same home, you do pay for a little more, like Scott talked about. And we don't know what rates are going to be 6 months from now. They could go back up again. They could reach whatever number, right? Then you also have more competition because it's a different season. People want to get into the market, blah, blah, blah. Think about that for a moment. Like what makes the most sense to consider like making a move? I know me, when I bought the home I live in now, you guys want to know when I bought my home? It was during the wintertime.
It's in January, wasn't it?
I closed on it in December. Yeah. Yep, because I know the game. So we're trying to give you that. Anyways, anybody else want to touch on?
Yeah, I would like to say that right around this time of year, I would consider that an early bird special. And what that means is winter happens right before spring, right?
Yep.
Okay. So when spring it starts to warm up, more and more people jumping into the market. And that means that more houses on the market, prices are going to go up because you do have competitive housing, right? You're picking listings that are going to compete with one another. In a market like right now, where not a lot of people are looking, but not a lot of people are selling either. It's more of an opportunity, like you said, to get people to work together to actually get something and not have to be absorbed. An exorbitant amount over. You're able to get what I said earlier, the early bird special, whereas like you're going to get it at a great price. The sellers, it's going to be a win-win for everyone. Seller's going to win, buyer's going to win, and more importantly, you're going to be able to move at a faster timetable. It's not going to be like, all right, well, I mean, I've been looking for about 6 weeks and I'm having to compete with 17 other people every time. It's not going to be that because not everybody wants to move in the winter, right? So,
Yeah, that's so true. Like you can actually take your time a little bit. I know you can't wait a week to make a decision, but you could wait, you could probably wait a day or two. I mean, you still want to you should have an agent who is working with urgency. So if you want to go look at a property, your agent should be excited to show it to you same day, just to make sure you avoid the competition. But once you see it and you need time to think about it, sleep on it, you have more of those opportunities these days.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those recently where they want to go home and think about it. And sometimes it doesn't even take them a full night, but they want to go home and at least talk about it and get like an estimate. Whereas a few months ago, you needed to have that estimate 5 hours ago and you needed to be at that property yesterday before it was even listed. So now you definitely have some time, but you still act with urgency because, I mean, with my clients, if I see something that they're possibly interested in, it's being sent to them right away, and we're finding out a time to go look at it.
Yeah, yeah. We listen. If you're one of our clients, we work with urgency. So we're gonna be scouring the MLS and off market opportunities because we don't want to make it seem like this market is easy. The market still is a challenge, right? Because you still got to find the right home and all that stuff, right? Decisions have to be made. But right now is extremely critical to make sure that your agent is giving you the best strategy to help you find the perfect home in less time, less hassle. And in this opportunity, it allows us to help you get it for less money too. So make sure your agent is doing those things that's going to, and what I mean by that is make sure your agent is meeting with you, slowing down, learning about what it is you need in a home and what your wants are, what your price point is, where you're comfortable, and what that agent is going to be doing on the back end to ensure you avoid the competition, to ensure you find the perfect home. Because that perfect home may not be on the market for you right now. That perfect home could be off market, right? So is your agent willing to go door knock that neighbor, door knock that person and say, hey, I may have a buyer for you. Would you be open to allowing us to see? Like those things. What are the strategies? Because again, if you have that type of agent in this market, you'll be, I mean, your process of finding that home you want, being able to take advantage of the opportunity, that will happen for you, period. And you don't have to be in reaction.
very true. You want a proactive agent, proactive and not reactive in this market. That's beautiful. And I think you also saying that reminded me of something else is as far as like being in tune with your clients and knowing your clients in and out. That's the key to having a strong relationship with your client, a strong relationship with your realtor, someone who knows your exact situation. And look, it might be a little uncomfortable for some people because some people are very private. But when it comes to a professional helping you find a home, someone that's going to be making sure that you save money where you can, or that you are knowing like what's expected to happen, be as open with them and transparent as possible.
Mhm.
There should be no point where there is a big surprise, because I mean, we've had these moments recently, or not even recently, but in the past, where a lot of stuff had come up during the transaction where you're like, oh, I didn't know that, or that wasn't disclosed to me beforehand, and if I'd have known beforehand, we would have been able to move differently. So I want to take the time to say, when you are working together, it is a symbiotic relationship. You guys work with one another. I need information from my client to help them, and they need information from me to know that they're making a great decision. So it has to be a give and take. Make sure that you know everything about your clients, and the clients, make sure you disclose everything that you can, so that way you're not up the creek without a paddle later on.
So true.
Mhm.
It's good info.
And that way they can better help you as well, because say, for example, for agents out there, say your client needs this, well, maybe they're looking for a month and now they don't need that. Doing regular check-ins, like, hey, is this still where we're at? Are we still on the same page with this, or do we need to tweak it a little bit? Where do we need to be in this transaction together? Because if we can all brainstorm and come together as a team and get the best outcome for them, they'll be 10 times more happier, happy, whatever.
Right.
Happier.
Happier. I think
There we go.
happier is a word.
Happier. You got it.
Exactly. Phonics. Anyway. Or semantics, I'm sorry. So having said that, knowing these interest rates have dropped just a little bit, what are you guys going to do moving forward with your buyers, your sellers? How are we going to continue to serve this market? Are we going to switch up our plan? What are we thinking?
Well, for me, I mean, we definitely all prospect a lot, but picking more up into that, I guess you could say, like just prospecting more, because you never know. Maybe by prospecting, I'll find that perfect house for my buyers, or maybe that seller needs to sell and buy, but they don't know where to start, or even just getting on the phone with someone and they don't know what's going on at all. They just hear stuff from the news. Like, being that calming force for people, I think, is a big help. And it also lets people know that we don't expect anything from anybody. We just want to give.
True.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not pressuring anybody. I know that there are probably some really hungry agents that are going to kind of resort to pressuring, and I think we here we do a really good job of presenting facts logically, how it relates to each individual client. That's been my focus more so lately, is trying to counteract or disprove the media, the negativity. You only see the negative stuff. I didn't see anywhere about the rates dropping until a week later or a week and a half later. So I want to present with my people, this is the truth, and give them those updates as well. We have buyers that are in the buying process and the rates go up, we absolutely had better be updating numbers and such between the lender, whom we work closely with and our clients, because we certainly don't want to get into a contract where, because rates have gone up, now our people are priced out because they were right on the edge. So yeah, like Joseph said, being aware of each of our buyers and sellers situation precisely helps alleviate a lot of those headaches that can get costly as well.
Yep. Going deep with our clients, like really connecting at a deep level with them. And I know that it may sound a little weird to some people, like, but because as real estate agents, you don't really hear that often. Like, deep connection and real estate agent, like those two don't normally go together. But for us, I mean, I think the deeper we go with our client, the more we understand their needs and what they're looking for, how we can better serve them. Like Joseph and Scott and Lauren mentioned, the better we could do our job, the more people we could call and trying to find off-market opportunities, the more we could prevent problems coming up later in the transaction, and just the more we could really share that positive message to our community that Scott just talked about as well.
Excellent. Well, guys, I don't want us to go over time. I feel like because we can get started and keep going. I know how we are. But any closing thoughts or did everybody say what they had to say?
Not yet, but we gotta close it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't everybody just share how they can be reached? Because again, our one of our well, I would say two of our great core principles. Number one is commitment. We've made a commitment that we want to be the best versions of ourselves for our people. When we say our people, it's our community. And then the other one is contribution, which is why we're on this. We want to contribute. We want to give, whether it's information, all of it that we give is free. It's all to contribute. So, with that being said, there may be some people on this live or watch it catching a replay that want to learn more and they want to know how to reach out to you guys. So, Lauren, ladies first, how can they reach out to you?
Well, you can reach me on my Facebook at Lauren Whitaker, or you can call me at call or text, it doesn't matter. At 765-204-2690, or you can email me at lauren@slreg.com.
Yep.
Anything about that.
And I would say if you follow her on Facebook, if you follow any of us on Facebook, you're going to see a whole bunch of wins.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a whole bunch of people who at one point were like you and decided to contact one of us. And then you're going to see a whole bunch of smiles on our faces because they are in a house in the process and everything. We it went the way it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So just to warn you, you're going to see a whole bunch of happy people. So if you don't like happiness, you probably don't want to call us. But if you do like happiness, please go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah.
We'll leave the best for last.
Right on. Yeah, if you want to reach me, Joseph Spivey on Facebook, joseph@slreg.com, or you can do you just call me or text me 765-201-7972, which is right here on the screen. If you can see it right.
I see it.
There we go. Perfect. And yeah, and Scott, how can they reach you, man?
My number is 765-427-2982. You can catch me on the gram. I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
Facebook, Scott Foltz. Yeah, again, you'll see a lot of happy stuff going on our pages. So Facebook, text, call, those are the easy ways.
Yep. Cool. You want to wrap it up, Joseph?
Yeah. So, well, Anthwon, how can they reach you?
Yeah, Facebook is the best way. Honestly, it's just Anthwon Thomas, ANTHWON. And yeah, reach out to me on there. We post a whole bunch of great content, positive information, positive stuff. So follow us on there. Silver Lining on our business page as well, Silver Lining Real Estate Group. We're on obviously YouTube. If you're probably watching this on YouTube, so that make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow everyone on this call because again, we're always leading with contribution. We're committed to doing that. So yeah, that's how they can follow me.
Right on. Right on. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank my business partners for contributing today. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time on the next Silver Lining TV. And until then, take care. Be safe.
We'll have to do this again because this was fun. So yeah, y'all take care. We'll see you next time.
See you.